12 days to election. Hello and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapita CBD. Now to our first story, Bono East is one of the newly created regions which will shape the elections. With 120 hotspots, police say crime has drastically reduced and campaigns have been peaceful. But for some residents, coming across a dead body in marketplaces is not uncommon. Like all the other regions we visited, they complain about arms in wrong hands and say police must consolidate the relative peace they have enjoyed so far and boost their presence on the ground. Today in our series, Safety for My Votes, Anas Sabit reports from the Bono East region.
Today, we are in Statesman on the principal streets to engage residents on some of the topmost security concerns ahead of the December elections and getting to the end of the year. We usually have security issues during elections, so we need to strengthen our security to save the situation.
I'm robbers. Armed
robbers and thieves are all over the market. Sometimes you find dead bodies in the market too.
Security issues for
us here in Statesman, armed robbery, especially on the route, is on the rise. From the streets, we sought to find the current security situation from the Ghana Police Service. DCOP Asumadu Ochri Dakun is the acting Bono East Regional Commander.
The current security situation in the Bono East region is a mixed one because we have a situation where on one hand, other crimes like kidnappings and murders and then the numerous chieftaincy clashes have gone down. Robberies are not going the way we want it to be. Yes.
On political violence, DCOP Ochri Dakun tells me that though the region is relatively peaceful, the police has been able to identify over 120 flashpoints across the 11 constituencies of the region.
I think I can say that we have had a very peaceful campaign period in all the constituencies. We haven't actually received any complaint that Party A was having a rally and then they have clashed with Party B people. The flashpoints, the numbers keep changing, yes, but I can tell you we have around about 120 in all.
These poor people on the grounds do happy with the improved security situation of the region. They are however calling on the police to up their game ahead of the December elections. There is improvement in the security situation during elections, but the police needs to be improved. We have to tighten our security so they will be able to deal with any situation. Others, including this gentleman, popularly known as La Soup, is however confident that the security is up to the task and the election will be generally peaceful. Ghanaians are united and I believe there won't be violence this time round. Our security is very tight too, so I have no doubt the election will be generally peaceful. For the few badness who are aiming at perpetuating violence on the election day, the police has a message for you.
Stay away from troublemaking because police will be there. Police, we are determined, we are committed, we are ready, and we are going to be very robust on that day.
So this has been the concerns of the people here in Statesman. From the Bono East Regional Capital here in Statesman, my name is Anas Sabit for Joy News.
Now, President Kufuor has assured traders at Kaneshie and Abeka that government will extend financial support to businesses hit by the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. At separate stops as part of his tour of the Greater Accra region, the president said the government has so far extended over 600 million cedis to small businesses affected by the pandemic. He assured those who do not benefit from the first batch will be captured in the upcoming disbursement.
4 years ago, me buy Bijana Katramu. Tamisramo mama me kwa me wonye ma be ahora me pese meye. Mo jimi tumo. Ena ma amamu oboni so anaye ra Muhammad yina efamulu. Yina ka ona moto abano ma me fe me de mose. Na de yame ne se. Isema me kashe o se menya me ba be ye no. Moi to me di ho dance yes man di tramo. Mambe muhambo mambe dia tramo no krana me be kacha mo mediso e na me be se muhom se me ono krefo onipa oka oyo dia me ba be se ne se ampa adwuma amaye se somoania se mo amohwe se adwuma amaye papa na somoania me sramo mama me kwana me koso me twa me adwuma le so for more years on another.
In other stories, let's see what we have, because in the Upper West region, Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Awoko-Boche has revealed that the ministry is leveraging on the boundless limits of technology to enhance the efficiency of passport operations for improved service delivery in the country. She said the ministry has adopted and operationalized government digitization policy by automating the process of acquiring passports through the online passport application systems. As a result of that, they have been able to eliminate the chain of overcrowding at passport application centers, improper completion of forms, document fraud, and interference of middlemen, properly called Go Boys. There's more in this report.
Region hitherto he needs to go through arduous times. After acquiring the passport application form and filling the personal information required, you have to travel to other regions to continue the process. The closest region often used by the people is Tamale, which is over 300 kilometers and requires at least 4 hours traveling time. The situation is more challenging for the people, especially Muslim folks, who wish to travel to the holy city of Mecca to perform pilgrimage. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali sees the opening of the Upper West Passport Application Center as a demonstration of the government's commitment to decentralized passport application at a regional level.
This new passport application center will undoubtedly reduce the cost and stress citizens in the region go through when applying for or renewing their passports. Previously, we had to travel to Tamale or Sonyani, which were the nearest centers to process our passports. Today, there is no need to travel outside the region to apply for a passport.
Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Minister Shirley Awoko-Boche, in a speech read on her behalf by her deputy Alhaji Mohammed Habib Tijani, stated that the commissioning of the Upper West Passport Application Center brings to 13 the number of passport application centers across the country. She said the ministry is leveraging on the boundless limit of technology to enhance the efficiency of passport operations for improved service delivery.
The ministry has adopted an operationalized government digitization policy by automating the process of acquiring passports through the online passport application systems. The online passport application system is an appointment-based system launched in the year 2018 for the attainment of the three-pronged objectives of convenience, accessibility, and reliability in the processing and acquisition of passports.
On the boundless limit of technology to enhance the efficiency of passport operations for improved service delivery.
The introduction of these interventions have eliminated the chain of overcrowding at passport application centers, improper completion of forms, document fraud and interference of middlemen, popularly known as guru men.
She shed more light on the benefits the intervention has brought to passport application in the country.
Now, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has criticized the 2020 manifestos of the governing New Patriotic Party and opposition National Democratic Congress, claiming they do not address a lot of concerns farmers have. Speaking at the Agriculture Manifesto Forum in Accra on Tuesday, head of programs at the association, Charles Naba, identified lack of markets and post-harvest losses as two main challenges facing the sector which need redress. He assures in this election year, peasant farmers will not vote based on party or regional lines, but on who has prudent policies, initiatives for the benefit of farmers.
More than 50% of Ghana's population earn their livelihood from the agricultural sector, making it the most important sector of the economy. This figure also makes the votes of farmers crucial if any politician wants to win the December 7 polls. The Agriculture Manifesto Forum on Tuesday gave the two main parties the opportunity to woo farmers ahead of the polls. NDC spokesperson on agriculture, Harry Jansen, insisted the NDC has better plans for Ghana's agri sector than the NPP.
It's very clear that the issues around technology have been addressed. The issues around accessing insurance and finance have been addressed in the NDC manifesto. The issues around providing infrastructure that will allow them to shorten the distance between their farms and their markets have been addressed. And also the issues around finding broader markets beyond urban Ghana into the international markets have also been addressed. The most important of which is the principle that agriculture will not be just a lifestyle, but a business that we will support with finance, we will support with technology, and we will support with infrastructure.
Deputy Agric Minister in charge of annual crops, Dr. Sagri Babangi, says the NPP has shown it has a good track record. He cited the building of warehouses as a key achievement for which the party deserves a second term.
We are saying that we are already doing the warehouses, and you know our target is one district, one warehouse. What we have done now is not up to every district. Some districts are still without warehouses. We have to do it. And even what we have put in each district is not adequate. We will need to add more. Because 1,000 metric tons translate to about 10,000 bags of grain. And some districts will require about 3 or 4 of such facilities. All that needs some longevity in government. That is why we are calling on Ghanaians to endorse our President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor, and our parliamentary candidates so that we can have a leverage to do more in the next 4 years.
Charles Naba of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana says low investment is a key constraint that needs immediate redress. He is urging the parties to prioritize policies that will deal with this and other concerns if they want the votes of members.
We are expecting more. Some are there, some are not there. So we are just hoping that as they are engaging, they listen to our concerns. So we are hoping that those expectations will be taken a second look at. It's not over. They can still tell farmers that even though this is what is in their manifesto, but because of what we have told them, they will consider them when they win election for implementation.
Which party is the best to handle the agriculture sector of Ghana? The decision is in the hands of farmers who will vote on December 7. Nicholas Ekoyamo's report for Joy News.
Access to safe drinking water remains a major challenge confronting several communities in the Wenchi municipality of the Bono region, though there have been some interventions by various governments. Communities such as Adiamra and Tangbakrom still depend on unwholesome sources, including polluted streams, for domestic use. Joy News Nesta Kafui Adrima tells the story of the Adrima community.
Access to basic amenities such as safe drinking water remains a headache to community members of Adiemra near Akrobi in the Wenchi municipal area. The 300-strong population of settler farmers have no choice but to depend on streams such as Techrebete and Adaji Even though water from this stream at a cursory look appears to be contaminated, women are compelled to come here every morning and evening with their children to draw water for use at home. They say their children have been complaining of waterborne diseases, but there is nothing they could do.
We do not have safe drinking water, and the distance from here to where we get water is quite far. We appeal to government to assist us with pipe-borne water. This water is unwholesome. It is not good at all. We find needles, diapers, chamber pots, and sanitary pads in this stream. Sometimes we get stomach upset. We call on government to come to our aid, else we will not vote for them. They could not finish fixing the borehole that was started. Later when they came, they began drilling a new one up there, which has also been abandoned. Health workers usually tell us waterborne disease causing germs are found in the system of our children.
Kwame Bunaib is the leader of Adiemra community. According to him, this borehole was dug under the erstwhile NDC administration, but they could not complete the project before leaving office. He said, officials from the current NPP government came here to start digging another borehole, but it has also stalled for almost 2 years now.
We lack access to safe drinking water. The women are suffering. They walk for about 2 kilometers before they can draw that dirty water. NPP promised to provide safe drinking water for us, but we have not seen much action. The several women and children here are suffering. Even we the men, lack of water has been delaying our job. We are all Ghanaians, so I plead on behalf of my people that they should forgive us for any offense and come to our aid, for we are suffering.
For the people of Adiemra community in the Wenchi municipality of the Bono region, provision of potable water is high on their needs and wants lists, since water, they say, is life. Nesta Kafui Ajoma reporting from Adiemra in the Wenchi municipality of the Bono region.
It's the news review segment on the AM show. A whole lot that the papers are talking about this morning, and we're going to be delving into them. Mamavi, good morning to you.
Oh, hi, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well.
It's midweek.
It is. Say
it.
Debbie. I'll not say it.
Okay. That's
some people might take it a certain way, but really? It's the midweek. Friday is gradually getting here. I've said it in a different way.
Okay, yeah, we hear you.
But how are you this morning?
I'm okay. Well, not 100%, I think. A bit slow.
I guess that makes two of us.
But Charlie, we're good. We're alive.
Right.
You know, when you wake up and you have life, you should be thankful.
Like Bagba, you were telling me the meaning of that the other day.
Yes.
We have life. They will say, should I get into that? What do you do? Anyway.
Okay, so we hope that you're doing good as well. Welcome to the review segment here on our show. I've got the Daily Graphic, the Daily Dispatch, the Ghanaian Publisher, I see the Statesman, and the Accra Times. Okay, and the Custodian.
I have the New Publisher, the Inside Report, then there's the Daily Guide, the Ghanaian Times, the Finder, and the Republic Press. Let's start with the Daily Graphic.
All right, here we go. Front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Presidential election dispute judgments in 42 days, Supreme Court declares. Political jostling in Ashanti, NPP, NDC in two-horse race. Obechebi Lamte interchange open. So this is just phase one of the project, the Tier 2 interchange that was commissioned by the president yesterday. There's a story, not in the center spread of the paper, but I will pull it in a little bit. So let's just do the back page of the paper now. Vice President inaugurate projects at New Fadama and in Kachina. That entire story is on the back page of the paper. Let me take you to page 24 of the Daily Graphic. There's a story of a student of the Ganata Senior High School in Dodowa, who back in 2013 was in her final year at Ganata in Dodowa, but she contracted cerebral spinal meningitis, and that led to her losing her sight. This is a very sad story. She had some of her old students visiting her and making a donation, and they made an appeal to everybody to help her out. So she's lost her sight. She couldn't finish school, obviously, because of that. And they're appealing for support for her. I thought I'll touch on that. That's on page 24 in the Daily Graphic newspaper. If you go to page 41, still in the graphic, dwindling inflows to COVID-19 fund worrying. That's according to Justice Sophia Kufuor. I'll wait for us to come back when we dig into the newspapers to tell you what she's been talking about.
Let's do the daily guide now. I am not in bed with government. That's according to the Electoral Commission's boss. And something interesting that she said, that if she had been in bed with government, there would have been children by now. The back and forth between the Electoral Commission and, IPAC and some parties in the minority, it's been something else. But it continues. She's been saying that, look, there's no way the Electoral Commission can rig an election. Others have said, well, let's put that to the test. Let's just, pray for peace. This one says, Mahama on promising spree, then manual on election adjudication lodged. And this one is an interesting matter because it contains some pertinent matters that may open a Pandora's box when it comes to legal challenges and even the aftermath of an election. Nana opens Kaneshi interchange and NPP is for Zongo development. That's according to Vice President Baumia. Economy picking up. When you go to the back page of the Daily Guide, it says GFA bows to Kotoko pressure. In recent times, there was a bit of talk between the two when it comes to money matters. Well, the GFA sort of conceding in certain ways as far as that is concerned. I'm sure later on the show, Orekwan Profo will bring you a bit more on that. Somebody is making profit in my name. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We're doing a bit of sports now, and he is claiming somebody is making profit through his name and face through EA Sports' popular video game, FIFA. Thus, DR Congo FA boss takes over CAF. But how much is your signature worth? Aguero has actually, beaten Ronaldo, Messi, and the legendary Pelé when it comes to autographs. And his goes for an average of £1,363.71. Others, 600 plus, 500 plus. Mama V, how much is your signature worth?
Charlie. When you ask that question, you talk about what you just talked about.
We need to do our bit. So someday our signatures will be worth. Charlie, Obi Osani, Sakodi will say, Hambia, thank you. Or Osani Bakubia, £1,000.
Hey, we'll get somebody's signature is even worth more than
what definitely.
We have in our consolidated, isn't it?
Charlie, no, but that's a thought,
The Daily Dispatch, front page, Benefsin's 2020 opinion polls, 2% margin of error. Kufuor to win first round with 52.6% and Mahama 45.7%. Okay, so that's his opinion. That's what Benefsin is saying. Haruna Atta on late Jerry Rawlings in the paper today. Rejected ballots, a growing political party. That's in quotes in Ghana because it makes sense, doesn't it? Actually, we get a lot more than some political parties would get. So that's a political party by itself, the rejected ballots. Supreme Court to deal with any election petition in 42 days. Nana Kunedu will not withdraw her running mate, declares. Okay, so that's issue coming up. Again, in the center spread, Kufuor answers Martin Amidu his full text. The time is now. Let's make it happen. Thousands embark on health walk with NPP in the Sojaman constituency and economic characteristics in former Volta region in the paper today. All right.
Well, that bit about Ben Efson's poll, you know, Sir John, may his soul rest in peace, said fear delegates. And it appears in the last 4 years, we've also learned to fear posters.
Yeah.
Because, Charlie, Matrikyo.
Yeah. But that hasn't stopped Ben Efson from still making his predictions.
Right. The Ghanaian Times, we're mandated by law, that's according to the Electoral Commission. President inaugurates first phase of Obechebi-Lamte interchange project. Verdict on 2020 presidential election dispute to be delivered within 42 days. That's according to the Chief Justice. Ministers of 6 newly created regions give account of achievements. When you turn to page 3, court discharges 2 persons accused of treason. Then there is 2 armed robbers jailed 36 years. But one that caught my attention, passage of Witness Protection Act will assist state prosecutors. You know, sometimes you go and tattletale on somebody because you're trying to be a good citizen, or this is going on in your neighborhood. And before you know it, those you went to, you know, talk about, I say they've got wind of the fact that you are the person who told on them, and it becomes something totally nasty. On the back page, Ordona market traders begin registration for government's financial support, and rebuilding of burnt Ordona market starts tomorrow. So that's it with the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Okay, you know we'll come back to the story. That crime issue of 2 persons being jailed. So they actually stole from a lawyer and some other person. These guys are brave.
No, but Mama V, what
I know.
I've seen, it's a bit of a gory incident, but there's a soldier in his mess, and they were trying to steal. You know what? He was lying on his bed, and the person's hand came through his phones, and do you know what he did? He got, you know, one of those pointed and stabbed the person's hand into the wall.
No.
I actually, the guy was miserable. And I'm sorry, but he took a little bit of...
Let's do the Daily Statesman. Yeah. All right. Front page of the Daily Statesman. Kufuor free SHS babies turn envoys. Don't be deceived. Kufuor cautions electorate against Mahama's second coming, and government is committed to winning COVID-19 war. Chief of Staff assures.
Just because you mentioned COVID, I had to go back to the Ghanaian Times to do this. I skipped a story. COVID-19 National Trust Fund in dire need of money.
Yes, that story is actually also in the Daily Graphic newspaper.
So
Madam Sophia Kufuor has been talking about it. Yes,
that story. So we get full details, and if we can support, because COVID, we're not out of the woods yet. The final newspaper. Easing of Accra traffic. President opens first phase of Obechebi-Lamte Circle interchange. Mahama doesn't deserve any more chances at the presidency. That's according to Nana Adodankwe Kufuor. Telcos paid 3.2 billion Ghana cedis in taxes and other remittances in 2019. Question is, how much more could we have got? Newly created regions witnessing massive infrastructural projects. That's according to ministers. Engineers and planners bids to buy gold company for $220 million. Engineers and planners, of course, when you hear their name, you also hear a certain Ibrahim Mahama. Anyway, that's it for the final newspaper.
Okay, last paper for me, The Custodian. And on the front page, a Brigale Senior High School hails Kufuor for excellent WASSCE results. So you'd find on the front page of the paper, President Kufuor introducing the Member of Parliament for Ekuapem South, Mr. Obi Amwa, to voters. And then you find also the Brigales showing the sign of 4 on the front page of the paper. Of course, the president was there, I think, 2 days ago. As he's been touring. I know what's going to be generating some commentary will be the school children on the front page, but the adults, aren't they?
Well, you know, I think gradually I've I'm convincing myself to stop speaking about some of these matters.
Okay, let me do the rest of this so that I don't push you to that corner.
The chiefs and the religious leaders and the students who are, I don't know. You know, it's become so bad now. Even children are being, I mean, it's not a now thing. It's always been there.
Yeah.
Little children, you see them clad in party colors. They are. In fact, something I saw, what's the name of that interchange? The one around the Ridge Hospital, when you move, not the main one towards the AU monument, the one heading towards the asylum.
Okay.
You see that one?
Yeah.
That was passing by, when was this? Was it?
This is close to the Electoral Commission.
Yes, that one. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? And I noticed, you see there's a monument in there. Well, someone has snuck a party's flag into the hand of the child. I found it interesting.
Listen, I know that some of the candidates also target the children. Because you remember my conversation with Esla, and she said, you know, when the children are following me, I tell them, go and tell your parents to vote for me. Go and tell your parents to vote for me. And children are also very quick with sounds. So sometimes the songs, the political songs, they pick them up and they start singing. I remember Kufuor. Do you want me to sing that song?
But you know, it actually brings
the J.A. A child said the J.A. in a way that, like, you want to imagine that?
No.
Okay, listen. The former president is a statesman. He's not in power, so I can say it. Okay, maybe I should not. Tell me if you want me to say it, to sing it.
No, I'll not say it because I didn't know what you're about to say. But this goes way back. Look, even Nkrumah was doing it with children and all of that. Nkrumah Mamitofia and all of that. It was
okay, my director said I could sing it. Okay. David, did you say I could sing it? Okay. Kufuor.
It's your crucifixion.
Jenny Kufuor.
Jenny.
It's the J.A. that's been turned Jenny. So, you know, children are also very much part of the politics. Yeah. They absolutely don't know what they're doing, by the way.
They just love the songs and they'll play along.
So don't hold it against them.
Okay, so you're done?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll just do the publisher. That will be the final one. The new publisher, I should say. I saw JM with coffins.
Hey, who says that?
Reverend Ozubemba.
Charlie, let's ignore. But
you know, he prophesied about the American election, and
so I saw JM, and so what?
Well, he wants to make a point that it means, you know, whatever is. I don't know how we can deal with all of this in our politics, but I guess we, the people, also lap up these matters, and so they keep doing what they do.
Yeah, did you almost watch it? Just ignore.
That's the whole point. In Chino, MPP won 2016 with lies. Kweku Boahen says Nana opens. Okay, so and then if Nana loses, I can't save him. EC boss speaks out. If he loses, she can't help him. That's what she says. Let's dig into some stories. Let's start with you.
So I'm going back to the story of the COVID-19 fund.
Right.
You have a very interesting perspective, but I was also bringing another version. So I just want to quickly go there. But maybe I can do page 16 and then we can go there. Page 16 is in the Daily Graphic newspaper and they're put in the spotlight. This is the Ashanti region. We know in the last elections, the NDC targeted 1 million and they got just about half of that. They actually had, I think, about 5 seats and they ended up cutting it down. Right. What's happening this year is that the NPP is also targeting the only 3 that the NDC has. They want to claim all 47 of the parliamentary seats in the region.
Right.
So they're actually doing a lot of work. Asawasi, Ejura, Setra Dumase, and Setra From Plains. These are the 3 seats held by the NDC in the Ashanti region. So the paper is talking about how the 2 are going about the campaigning and the strategies just so for NDC they can win a lot more, and then for the NPP they can claim all 47.
So the NDC is saying they want 30%. This wouldn't be the first time they've actually aimed at 30%, but that's what they want. And if you look at the political scientists have said that if they are able to get 30% in the Ashanti region, I mean, Greater Accra is free for all. You get it. And they'll have to battle it out in the central region, the eastern region, and the rest. So if they are able to get anything close to 30%, that could bode very well for the party. And in recent times in Asawase, you know, there's been some interesting development there. So when the MPP, gets into that constituency because it's trying to win it and all of that campaigns, then the NDC also comes to, try to deflate everything that has been said, because if they lose that constituency, that's a foothold that they've lost in the region.
So one of the things the NDC is trying to do is to just highlight the kind of things they've done in the Ashanti region, just so the people would know that, when they were in power, they did quite a bit in the region, even though they didn't give them a lot of votes in 2016. But let's go to this story on page 41. Dwindling inflows to COVID-19 fund worrying, says Justice Sophia Kufuor. She's the chairperson of the National COVID-19 Trust Fund, and she's expressed worry over the inflows to the fund. So she says, people are not donating. And there's an example of between August and now, just one individual donating to the fund. And she says that that's because some people think that the COVID-19 pandemic is either gone or we've handled it quite well, so we are not suffering from it. But the fund needs money because they support health facilities and then people write to them for support. But here's what I want to say. When people don't know what you're doing with their funds, they're actually not encouraged to bring in more.
Exactly.
So I remember being an ambassador.
We are people. I mean, even in church, if you're told we're going to do this project and the rest, and they take your money and you don't see anything, what do? Do you keep on giving? You don't.
So because I remember when people started questioning, they gave us the accounts details, which is like an open thing.
50+ million. Yeah. I remember.
But people were saying, the fact that you've given us the accounts is not enough. You need to tell us exactly what you've been doing.
How is it being used?
Yes. You need to be really accountable in that sense so that people will be encouraged. I was talking about being ambassador for the projects, the first infectious disease center project, the one that's been built. Because people could see the structure coming up.
Yeah.
And each time when we talked about, people actually, so this is what my money is going in for. I remember when I went to Asempa FM, people readily wanted to donate because they could see what the money was going into.
And that's why that structure is basically private enterprise.
Yes, it was private-led.
Enterprise.
Private-led. We had state institutions donating. GMPC, that was the Bank of Ghana, all those institutions donating hugely to it, but it was private-led. All I'm saying is, tell the people exactly what you're doing with the monies, what the monies have done.
Yeah.
Let them see pictures, let them see videos, and then they'll begin to realize the need to give more. Exactly. But if you give us all, so they've expended 41 million. Like, that's the figure, but people don't know what it has really done. So basically what we are saying, and I'm just echoing what Justice Sophia Kufuor is saying, she says that donate to the fund. I'm just adding the little bit about they should also show us what they've done with those monies.
Transparency, accountability. Anyway, let's get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Passage of Witness Protection Act will assist state prosecutors. I did mention I would get into the story. It's on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, and it says, the Public Prosecutions Division of the Attorney General's Department and the Ministry of Justice has noted that the passage of the Witness Protection Act will assist state prosecutors in investigations. How? The division noted that getting witnesses to testify in cases had proven difficult because of fear of victimization, which affected the speed with which cases were tried. And I'm quoting here, effective investigation thrives on vital information. So if persons with that information are willing to provide it, then they must be protected. Ms. Victoria Asieduwa, Principal State Attorney at the Public Prosecutions Department of the Ministry, said. And so this is how bad it is. According to her, at times you arrange a witness for court only for him or her to tell you on the day of hearing that he or she can't come if you don't send them money. But this new act has provisions to address all of that and the fear of victimization as well. So for most people, if you're not too conversant with the legal structures and the procedures to be followed in court and all of that, you might take this for granted, but it's quite a situation there. And this, I believe, will go a long way to stem the tide of witnesses fleeing court, not wanting to come, not wanting to give out information that will maybe save others and maybe cause others to be incarcerated. But this other one I wanted to delve into. Yesterday, there was a lot of talk about it. Manual on Election Adjudication launched. It's on page 3 of the Daily Guide newspaper, and it says, The Judicial Service yesterday launched the 4th edition of a manual on election adjudication in Ghana ahead of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. Now, the manual is to provide a source for all requisite constitutional provisions on the conduct of presidential and parliamentary elections. But speaking at the launch of the manual on election adjudication, Justice Jones Victor Doche, chairperson of... I hear his is Doche. I know Doche. But really? I'm told he...
Did he say, does he mention that himself?
Okay, you have a point there. You have a point. Okay, so Doche. Let's just do Doche. So Justice Doche, chairperson of the Election Manual Review Committee, disclosed that the revised edition of the manual includes CI 99, which ensures that any petition arising from the presidential election result would be resolved expeditiously within 42 days. So the 21-day rule, 42 days, and all of that. You've seen, or at least you've digested parts of this entire manual. What's your take? Some are saying that it's violating what the Constitution says in, is it Article 64 when it comes to, because there are no timelines. That's why the last time we had an election petition, it went for what, 8 months?
8 months, yes.
And we're going on. But some have said that some of the changes that are being proposed go contrary to what the Constitution, the highest law of the land, says. So is it something they are looking at futuristically, or is it something that they are looking at now?
So that
mention was made of 2020, so that's the problem.
I don't know. But what I do know is that since 2008, we've always had a manual. And what has happened with what we have in 2020 is that we've further developed it. So 2008, 2012, 2016, and then this is the 2020 edition. That's why it's the 4th edition. Yeah. And they've made some kind of changes, which is supposed to be improvement because we're growing. I'm not sure that
every electoral year, every electoral
that
cycle.
The 2012 petition traveled for 8 months. I'm not sure that we liked it. And what they have done, some of the changes they've done with this is that instead of, so if you look at 2012, where we had the MDC being a party to the petition, now it's only the presidential candidates and the Electoral Commission.
The winning of the winning party.
Exactly.
And the EC.
Exactly. So that we don't have, others who are not necessarily interested parties, if you like. So I haven't finished. I think I've read up till about a half because I like the fact that they put all the laws related to elections together in this, including some judgments as well related to elections. So maybe when I finish reading all, but I don't know about the Constitution, the conflicts there. The lawyers can best handle that bit. Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, though, so you're restricted to the winning party or the winning candidate and the Electoral Commission. What if there's an election where you feel there was some foul play, but it's not actually the winning candidate who was guilty, though the person won? It is maybe other people's foul play that led to your getting less votes. So there, I understand, the Electoral Commission comes in, but how does the winning candidate come in? Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
I don't think
so. Let's say there's a winning party, but he is not, that party or the candidate is not involved in any foul play, so to speak. It's maybe other parties whose foul play diminished your votes and led to that person's victory. How does that winning, are you getting the discussion now? So the Electoral Commission will definitely come, but this other person restricting to this other person, just the two of them, I'm thinking. But I believe it's so legal terrain will still have to...
Yeah, because what they've done is, if it's presidential, because what they've also done is to explain the court structures and where you go if you have an electoral dispute, which court you go. But of course, the Supreme Court will handle the presidential disputes. So maybe what you are saying will probably fall under one of the other courts. So... I don't know. Listen, it's complicated.
We'll see. But that's why we need to, ahead of the elections, we need
to get a lawyer, maybe.
Get a lot more information on some of these matters. It breaks down and it settles the minds of many people.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're doing is still absorb. This manual is about 90-something pages, so it'll take a bit of time. We're going to read it thoroughly and we will share bits of it with you so that people won't confuse you.
Right.
Sometimes what the interested parties... i.e. political parties, the stakeholders, they just confuse the matters and they make it look
Blew everything.
Exactly. But if you were to read and you got the basic understanding, what they've done is also even the language that they use in this manual is very basic for every person to understand. Okay.
Well, I guess we're done with the papers now. We might go online and take a look at what some of the portals are actually saying. Mama V?
Yes.
Joy Online?
Yes, let's do my Joy Online.
And I'll sneak in some sports.
You're going to talk about hats. I knew it.
Oh, no, you see, guilty conscience. It's not even Hearts of Oak I was going to talk about.
What are you going to talk about?
I was going to talk about Manchester United. Manchester United. Not your Leeds. Anyway, let's do my Joy Online and then I will talk some sports.
I don't think our director is allowing us because time is up. So we'll just take a breather. We'll come back. Listen, Hearts drew and so what? But Kotoko also drew. Didn't they draw?
Oh, Man U won by 4 goals to 1.
We won't go. Okay, stay with us. We've got sports coming up.
Morning and welcome to the sports segment with me, Oreko Ampofo. We do start off from the Ghana Premier League, where yesterday we did witness a very enthralling game at the Accra Sports Stadium between Accra Heart of Oak and then Ashanti Gold. Now, Heart of Oak had a chance to win the game twice as they took the lead twice, but twice Ash Gold did also come from behind to make the game end in a tie. It was 2 braces, one from Kojo Obeng Jr. and then the other from the Ash Gold striker as well. Let's check the highlights of the game.
Difficult skill. Ash Gold, they came through with this one again with Yao Ano with his shot across again, welcomed by goalkeeper Richard Atta.
Yeah, Yao Ano looked exciting throughout the first 45 minutes. Seemed to be the best player for Ash Gold. On this occasion there was a good comeback, but the goalkeeper also had read it perfectly.
So this is where Ash Gold lost it. Roland Amuzu gave this ball to Amos, who gave it away. And Daniel Barnier did well to follow up. Some comical defending at this stage.
It was a bad pass.
And it's a gift to Obeng Jr.
It was a bad pass by the captain, but Barnier wasn't giving up on it. He was chasing and they put Amuzu in trouble. Tried to score, but once he deflected off the Ash Gold defender Enu and fell into the path of the striker Obeng Jr. was never going to miss from that range. Never.
That's all to play for in the 45 minutes. Back from recess, the Phobians hanged on to that lead from Kojo Obeng Jr.'s opener. So it was Ash Gold who were chasing for the equalizer, and once Yawano popped up here, Hans Kofi was lurking and he got that equalizer for Ashanti Gold.
Yeah, that was a lovely goal. When you take a look at the shape of the Accra Asovok back line, all the 4 defenders were in good position.
Accra Hatsabok at this stage got to probe, and Apia Makati with this power drive and a very good save from Richard Atta.
Yeah, Apia Makati, he has this in his locker. Once he lined it up, it took a little deflection there by Richard Atta, saw it all the way to make an incredible save.
Nete with a good switch to Patrick Razak. He couldn't quite find him, but here's Larry Somaila. He skips past Amuzu, and Razak, delicate cross onto the head of Obeng Jr., and that's Hasselhoek's second.
Yeah, and that was a lovely goal. It was the best we saw tonight. Larry to Patrick Razak. That skill to get past Amuzu was brilliant. And take a look at Razak. He saw his men in the box, picked his head up, saw the men, and puts in a beautiful cross. Goalkeeper can't come and claim that. And if it's Obeng Jr. against Amwako, it's always going to be one answer. It's always going to be Obeng Jr. And this kill by Patrick Razak was amazing. It was delightful to watch, really was. And the goal was amazing.
Obeng on the double, and it was Ash Gold who kept believing and probing for the much needed equalizer. Yao Ano skip past Nete, goes past Larry Sumaila, and Kofi Nkrumah's cross onto the head of Hans Kofi, and the Miners are back in business. 2-2.
Yeah, credit to them. They didn't give up. Ash Gold, they didn't give up. They kept probing and probing and probing. And a little bit of deflection of the cross onto the head of Moa Hassan is what helped onto the head of Hans Kofi. And in that position, Hans Kofi is never going to miss from there.
So Hatsabok huffed and puffed but could not grab all 3 points. It's 2-2 full-time.
Kofi getting the last laugh in the tale of two braces between him and Dan Kojo Obeng Jr. But that result means that Ash Gold have now gone 7 years without defeat at the Accra Sports Stadium whenever they do play Accra Heart of Oak. Let's now hear from head coach of the Accra Bayside, Edward Odu.
About the result, because this game is not a game of draw. We should have killed this game in the first half, even in the second half. We created all the chances in the game, but I think lack of small concentration disturbed us. So but I'm very disappointed.
So you're going to blame this draw on lack of concentration?
Not only lack of, but the number of chances we created. Could have buried this game in the first half. What did you identify between your players that is lacking going forward that you must work on? I think our midfield coordination did not work in the first half, but you could see in the second half we start to pick up the pieces, and I think our scoring, because if you watch our pre-season we were scoring, and today we scored 2, but I don't know why we should have considered.
Finally, Patrick Razak is back into the team, and he looks like he's already gelled, and he's been here all over through before.
Yes, but Razak is one player I've used before, and I know him. What he wants from the boys, he had half. He couldn't get all.
The result is before game. If I want 0-0, it was good for us. But I was surprised. We played against a very strong team. But I was surprised with my team how we played first 20-25 minutes. Some period from the game we was better team. Some period there was better team. But now score is okay. 2-2. I'm satisfied.
Now your captain or your vice captain Hans Kofi scored 3 goals in 2 matches. Yeah. What do you make of him?
You know, somebody told me first half he didn't play well. I told them he played well. Because always 2 players is with him. We make chance with other players. That's why he is very important. He don't must to run too much, but he is very important for us. And when comes chance for him to score, he score. This is big player.
So now you've seen 2 games of your team. Do you now have a fair idea of your players, and probably we should be getting better results going forward?
I saw today we can play. We can make very good team. Now I have players. I saw them. More well than before. Now I believe my team we can make very good team.
All right.
That was Milovan Serkovic, who's been in charge of Ash Gold for just a couple of weeks, and he's had 2 draws so far this season. But one coach who has left the Ghana Premier League is Legon City's coach Goran Baratarevic, and the club did release an official statement around 12 a.m. Stating that they've terminated the contract and parted ways with the Bosnian coach. We're trying to get you that statement, but if you do remember, we reported last week that Goran would be sacked after that humiliating defeat against Olympics. So in the letter from Legon City, you see that the club announces that manager Goran Baratarevic has left the club with immediate effect. The club would like to thank Goran for his services during his time at Legon City's FC and wish him success in the future. A new manager would be announced in the coming days.
Thanks to Oreko Ampofo for sports. Time for us now to do some business, because every Wednesday here on the show, we bring you business, and it's brought to us kind courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African bank. Now, last week, we told you the story of victims who've suffered land litigations and had their capital locked up in this process. Disturbing figures for the show that Ghana's poor land regime is not just driving away investors, but also making doing business in Ghana very difficult. Today, we advance the narrative as Odilian Tiamwa takes us through the basic process of home construction.
So my first question is, I buy a land,
I've got documentation. I need a quantity surveyor to have a conversation with. When you come on the land, will you require that I show you evidence of my land documents being updated before you will start anything?
I think at certain circumstances, I have to ask you to provide your land papers, your documentation, because I have to advise you, because you are going to incur a cost on the project. And if I don't advise you on the necessary document that you're supposed to secure before you commence the project and you start and there's a litigation, it means the whole money will go on way here. So first and foremost, I have to ask if maybe your land has properly been registered with the appropriate authority and you have the land title. So, but that is not the duty of a quantity surveyor, but as an advisor to the landowner, you have to at least know that. So if all this documentation has been properly been done, then at the end of the day, you'll be able to advise the person to go ahead to execute the project. But if it has not been done, to avoid future litigation, then you can advise that person to make sure that he acquire all those papers before commencing the project. You know, we have even building permit whereby the district assembly or the metropolitan people will come, and so all these building permits are supposed to be secure first before you can commence. So if I come to your site and you don't have all this building permit, all this documentation are not ready, it means I will advise you to at least make sure that you put all this in order before you commence the project to avoid any unnecessary litigation or waste of resources.
Okay, so the client now has all of these. Where do we start from with you as a quantity surveyor?
Yeah, well, as a quantity surveyor, the first thing that I have to, if I want to engage or maybe a client engage me, I have to do is to go to your project site to at least establish the topography of your land size, your land shape, the conditions and other things. Then a request for your drawings. Then because the drawings is what will help me material or the resources that will be required to execute that project. So that's your drawing.
Just a minute. You spoke about the quality of soil, isn't it?
Yes, please.
Okay, tell us about that, because that is important. Because there are times when people don't even see the need for a quantity surveyor. So tell us why it's urgent to have a quantity surveyor, and then tell us also how the quality of land also comes to play.
See, who is a quantity surveyor? Because before somebody will understand why there's a need for me to engage a quantity surveyor, we have to know who is a quantity surveyor. A quantity surveyor is a construction professional person who has a broad knowledge with cost and contracts. So cost and contract. So when you're going to build and you have your drawing, maybe private citizen, private individual, you don't have money to go and hire a geologist to determine the water table of your land for you. So if you hire me as a quantity surveyor, the first thing I have to do is to go to, as I said, go to your project site. Then, because the architect has designed the building based on maybe certain perception or the ideas he has. And as a quantity surveyor, if I go to the project site, because I'm coming to also give you an estimate for the resources you need, which is include the concrete, the block, and maybe the iron rods. So helping me to understand or going to the project site to know the type of soil will help me also determine the depth of your foundation should be already, maybe the designer has, or the architect has already come up with a certain depths. But if I go to the project site, I can also use my professional abilities also to advise you that, okay, per this type of soil and this condition, we have to raise this footing to this level. We have to have a foundation thickness of this depth in order to be able to sustain the building, the load that is coming on the building.
Yeah.
So having 10,000, you can at least put up your substructure, and then another 10,000 can help you uplift your superstructure to certain lintel level and another thing. Then your roofing. Now the roofing, you can have your normal allo zinc roofing, or you can have your long span. The long span will come with its own quality and cost. Allo zinc also comes with its quality and its cost. which though they are not the same. So if you want to go and buy ordinary roofing sheet, then the cost will be able, you can have a minimal cost in relation to putting up your structure. If you want to go and buy, so 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 can build you a 2-bedroom house, provided you also, what we call it, minimize your taste in relation to your money.
I like that. Everybody must have some good taste.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely, with 50,000 cities, we gather that you can start building your property up to a certain standard that you want. But of course, if your quality metrics are really high, then 50,000, you would need more than that. So we have been engaging a quantity surveyor and finding out what exactly happens right after you have purchased your land and you have your land title and everything. We take a look at the exciting packages that real estate companies have. I've had some very interesting ones, like the one that East Capital has, that you just make your deposits and then the house is constructed for you to suit exactly what your taste is. But the planned city extension has another interesting one. It's called the rent to own, and they claim or they say that this is actually the only one that exists in the country. All you're doing is making a deposit or some little amount of money, which is not over 3,500 cedis, and then continuously make deposits as if you're renting the house. And by the time it's like 20% of the cost of the house, you can actually move in and spend the rest of the years to pay. So I'm here on their field to be finding out what really is in the details. We know that the devil is in the details, and so we want to really find out what is in the details. And I'll be speaking with the manager for the project to tell us exactly that. Okay, so I have heard about planned city extension, and one of the things I've heard is about rent to own. Tell me about this concept, because many people really want to own a house.
Right. Yeah, you see, so the rent to own basically is for you to start something, not necessarily make huge deposits. Basically, we want every Ghanaian who wants a house to own, to be able to buy. There's an issue of affordability, but we're not talking about access. And affordability, we know, is relative. So all we are saying is that register with us, make a small initial deposit, 3,000 Ghana cedis, and then start making your monthly rentals depending on the type of property you choose, whether it's a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, detached or semi-detached house, or flat. In other words, apartment. Basically, that is it. So as you pay up to 20%, you move into the house, and then you continue to make payments until you finish. The highest limit is 25 years. The top or the highest threshold of payment is 25 years. So you can choose to make upfront 5 years, 10 years, or however convenient you want it to be. Basically, this is the whole concept about rent to own.
So do you, for example, need the support of a bank in the form of mortgage to be able to be part of this kind of system?
As a matter of fact, some financial institutions are talking to us, but we are already in motion. Let me say that we are already in motion. The partners and the international, our international partners, we are already in motion, and it's demand driven. So that's what it is. We know they are going to come, because now people see that this concept, this is really what it has to be. People don't have 20% down payment, 30% down payment, and what have you, but everybody needs a house. So as we speak, We have over 3,700 expression of interest. Not just those who have called. I'm talking about those who have expressed interest. Those who have made, registered, whose houses are going to be, commenced, are going to be done for them by the first quarter of next year. We're going to start construction. About 200 and over 250.
I can hear your phone beeping, and I'm even sure some of these clients are already sending you messages.
It doesn't stop. Yeah, it doesn't stop.
So this land is about how large and how big is this project?
We have about 1,500 acres in this area. There are 2 sites here. We have about 600 and over 700 acres at the side B. It's just a village that, divides the plots. But there's a link through this particular site to the other side. Yeah.
Exactly when is this starting in full force? And how can someone be part of this, what you may say does not look like it's really happening in Ghana?
It has already begun. We started a campaign, for rent to own land and house ownership scheme. The Plant City Extension project started a few years ago. It's gone through a lot of phases and stages, until we had to settle on this model, to go, because it has to be inclusive. By inclusiveness, I mean you have to make sure that you plan for the poor. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of trouble. So everybody is included. That's why I'm saying that it's gone through a lot of phases and a lot of stages. Now designs, master plans are virtually done. We have our, the plans developed, and we are ready to start construction for those who have registered. With over 250 people who have registered, we're ready to start construction for them first quarter next year. By the end of first quarter next year, we're starting theirs for them. So those who register between now and December can be part or are eligible to be part of the first batch.
When you say registration, it means that the person should have made their down payment of 3,000 cedis.
Yes, so the registration is basically 499 Ghana cedis, and then the initial deposit of 3,000 Ghana cedis.
So that should be about 3,500 cedis.
Roughly.
And then how do you do the deductions every month?
Yeah, so some are doing by payment orders, some are doing via the office merchant Momo, the project office merchant Momo. And
what I mean is, how do you stagger the payment for these people, and over what period of time?
It's monthly. So immediately you register, i.e. payment of your 3,500 registration a month after you start commencement. So and you should have paid at least 20% by the time the homes or the house is being given to you.
Next, we connect with a real estate developer who has various offerings in case you would want to use a real estate company when building your house. The following are some facts about the real estate bill. The Real Estate Agency Council is supposed to be set up under the bill. This council is supposed to regulate the practice of the real estate agency, approve courses of study for agency practice, and license real estate brokers and agents.
All right, that's it for In Business this week. It's brought to us kind courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. It's your birthday today, Madam Janice Bapping of Ghana Revenue Authority. And it's also your 50th birthday, Mrs. Comfort Wamaga of Ghana Petroleum Mooring Systems Limited. It's from your brother, famous Kwesi Atichogbe, the entire Atichogbe and allied families, both home and abroad. Messages, may the heavens descend upon you in a very special way today for this milestone. Stay with us. When we come back, is a conversation with Mr. Dan Butchie here on the show. Thanks for staying with us here on the AM show. Now, it's been 2 years since the 6 new regions were created following a referendum. The Ministry for Regional Reintegration and Development was set up for that purpose. Following the successful creation of the regions, many continue to ask the usefulness of that ministry. That's the question I put to Sector Minister Dan Butchie after his nation-building updates on Tuesday.
The name of the ministry is Ministry for Regional Reorganization and Development. So, if you know that that's the name of the region, I couldn't have said that the job is finished. And immediately after the referendum, we had to go to the legal process where Mr. President had to, have the CI determination of the regional capitals has to take place. After that, Mr. President put together an interministerial team, government team, to see to the immediate short-term and maybe long-term development needs of the new regions. I was a chairperson. We have a Ministry of Finance, National Security, Special Development Initiatives, local government, planning, ministry, and then an advisor from the Minister's Office, Dr. Kufuor. So we had to do the consultation process. But before then, we had alerted all other ministries whose agencies have to be, as it were, established in the new regions. First was the local government, head of the local government service, because there has to be the establishment. You have created the region, but it's there. You have to have a regional administration, appointment of regional coordinating directors, the staffing of the whole place have to be coordinated. You cannot just leave it like that. So our ministry needed to exist, to continue to coordinate all these things to make sure that the establishment is fully. I must admit that even as of now, there are still some agencies who have not yet fully had the establishment in the new regions. So that had to take place. And we had to have meetings, tour the whole new regions with the local government service, interact with them and get that establishment done. And also put it up the infrastructure had to be done. It was, ASL was appointed as our consultants. They had to determine the immediate projects that had to be put in place to provide for smooth takeoff. It was decided that at least Ministry for Education, Agric, feeder rules, that's representing rules and transport and health. These directories have to be established in the new regions. Mr. President also decided that because of the demand, some of the complaints that came, the demand for the new regions, that they felt that they were too far away from the government. Development was always skewed to one side, even within the existing government that the existing regions that they had. So he said, well, fine. In consultation with them, he said that we'll spread the regional directories. So that you go to OT region, for example, Regional Feeder Rules Directorate is in Ketekrachi. Regional Education Directorate is in Jasikai. Regional Health Directorate is in Rara, Biakuya District. And Regional Agri Directorate is in Nkwanta South, Nkwanta. And that was the decision of Mr. President, that's how it should be done, to help, so that in future nobody come and say, now again we are far away from Dambai, we don't feel the presence of government. And so that decision was taken. And then we have to go through the whole process of tender, getting contractors, over the ASL consultants to go and make sure that this establishment is taken, the building of the infrastructure. Okay. And then again, all ministries were also taxed, and we were supposed to coordinate that. For example, when the president said there should be 3 critical roles, not only for the old regions, but for the new regions too. And we have to make sure that all other ministries make sure that they are well established in the regions, and there are specific projects and decisions that have to be taken to make sure that the region gets a smooth takeoff. Okay. We have been at it, and I must say that judging from the feedback, the people are happy that at long last something that they have requested or they dreamt of. They've always wanted to have a new region for themselves. That has not been done for them. It has now been achieved.
Okay, so obviously the job wasn't done after the creation of the regions, but let's look at the objective, the purpose for which the regions were created, so that resources could extend to some of these places. How much of that has been met? That has been met in terms of the foundation that has been laid. Obviously, they can't expect that all that they wanted, all the things that they lacked, what they thought there was not equitable distribution. If you take Justice Bobi's Commission's report, it's something one doesn't talk much about it. They begin to compare in this region number of tar roofs in this area versus the area where they want to have their own region, number of educational institutions, number of health institutions. You begin to make the comparison, then you begin to understand maybe why they wanted their own region. And obviously, if there were, say, 9 higher institutions of learning, and there are only 8 here and there's 1 here, that cannot be addressed immediately in 2 years. But the important thing is that now that you have your own education directorate, when they were giving resources to regional directories, you had yours. You now have a regional director for feeder roads for your own region. So you won't have one regional director of feeder roads in Sunyani who take care up to Kwame Down, so Techima and Kintampo, come back and go to Sampa and then go to Sankore. So the fact that you know that I now have my own regional director in Techima, and who is taking care of only this side, I can be confident that some of the problems I had in infrastructure regards to roads will be addressed when it comes to education. So that sense and that confidence, which is well-based and well-founded, that now that I have my whole regional directorate here, who is taking care of only these 9 districts, I'm now sure that I will get. And one example is when Mr. President decided that in this year, as part of the year of roads, all regions should bring 3 critical roads. They all brought it. So hitherto, Brown will have had 3 critical roads, but now they had 9. Because Bono East had 3 critical roads, Bono had 3 critical roads, and I have had 3 critical roads. Okay. So, yeah, so these are some of the things. So now, the reason why they wanted the region is been addressed, not because, of course, nobody expects that within 2 years, but now he knows that I can see 3 critical roads, I'm also getting it. I can see the education infrastructure I'm getting. When they say equipping regional directories, they will send me 1 vehicle or 2 vehicles each to each new region. Now we have 6 because we also have 2. We have 2. There's going to be better supervision and monitoring in my new region, and many others that they expect. Great. It comes to this planting for food and jobs and all other government policies. Now, one particular resource will have been sent to a region. Now the same thing is repeated in the other regions. Okay, but the resource is the same. It hasn't been expanded. What we are sharing is basically the same. So what would have gone to the Bunahafo? I wouldn't have seen. I'm unable to get that. Are you not breaking? If now we are having 3 roads in Bron Ahafo, 3 contractors will be appointed to do roads, and now 9, roads are being done. How can the resource be the same? It's not the same. It can't be the same. If you were going to get 30 kilometers of road in Brown Ahafo, now you have 30 here, 30 here, 30 here. And so the resource can never be the same. So I'm talking about the national cake as we put it. What we as whether but those we are not talking about those at the receiving end. I am at the receiving end now. They say now put up 3 model schools. I know that I'll get 3 model schools in OT, and Volta will get 3 model schools. Whereas at first it will have been 3. And maybe I think that being in OT, I may not have gotten it, or I may even gotten 1. So for them, they are getting what they get. Also, where central government gets the money to give it to them, but which they are not benefiting, is a different matter. But for those who wanted the region, for the reason why they wanted that one, they wanted government to be closer to them. And they wanted also to be closer to government. That they are seeing it. All government institutions are being established there. Take even Chief Justice, for example, not exactly government, but it's in the constitution that House of Chiefs, each region should have 5 representatives to the House of Chiefs, each region. That's what is the national constitution. Now, there are 5 representatives from Bono East to the National House of Chiefs, 5 from Bono to National House of Chiefs,
5 from Ahafo to National House of Chiefs, 15 as against 5. They're all in the National House of Chiefs now. In actual fact, when they had their last election, it was one of the presidents from the new regions who has become the National House of Chiefs president. You understand it? So and each of them are giving resources. Yes. They are giving resources. They are going to build new regional House of Chiefs infrastructure for all the new regions. All of them were given a Land Cruiser and a pickup. So to them, they will have received 1 Land Cruiser, 1 pickup. Now they have 3 Land Cruisers, 3 pickups. So for them, they can see
development because we added 6. We're not slowing
down
development.
It's improving. I mean, the examples I'm giving clearly shows that we're improving. And as I tour around the country, I go around the country, I can see road network be done all over the place. Urban roads is working, feeder roads is working, highways is working in one region. Okay. The same is being replicated in all the other regions.
Can we break it down this way? So if you had 100,000 that you were given to, say, the Volta region, are you now breaking the 100,000 into 50-50?
That's not the case, because that's not what is being done. Now, when you take the national cake, you take the budget. My ministry still, many of the goods and services is still routed through my ministry. So I've just had a discussion with the regional ministers. Goods and services now. It's a public thing.
For the 6 regions?
For the 6 regions. It's a public thing, so it's no secret. Each quarter, they send it for goods and services. Only last week, about 900,000 cities is being sent to all the 6 new regions. The 6 regions have gotten their money. So the argument that it is 1 cake or 1 orange, you divide it into 10, the same orange is being divided into 16 is not the case at all. It's not. That argument is not the case at all. Where the central government gets the resources, as I keep saying, it's a different matter. But those at the receiving end, they can see when they were giving vehicles, they didn't say that, well, we are bringing 1 vehicle to Brahafo. So now that you are 3, we are going to cut the vehicle, excuse me. It's not. They were giving each one what 3, so they can see 3 vehicles as against 1. So the argument that is the same resource, therefore nothing has changed, cannot be the case. The people can see development. The 3 roads. The 3 critical roads have been done, and they can see that if this thing were in one region, there's no way maybe we at Kwame Danso will have gotten a region, a road, and the people in Sankware will get a road, and the people in Sampa will get a road for the 3. No, they couldn't. Okay. But now it's clear they can achieve it. So there were 2 main things in all the 6 petitions: getting closer to government, and that is done. Deepening decentralization. Regional minister, deputy regional minister. New regional coordinating directorate have been given. In actual fact, the local government service had to employ about 2,000 people, or more than 2,000 people, into the local government, the creation of the 6 new regions. And then other, as I said, other institutions now have to appoint all these people to all these regions. So that is deepening. Government has become closer to them. The next one was accelerated development. They were lagging behind. And that they have seen it. If you look at the presentation they made, it's clear that almost all government development projects, even the partnership with the private sector. Zoom Lion started this recycling of waste in other regions. Now, all the new 6 regions have also gotten one, and they are starting to build one for them. So it will have been 10, but now it's 16.
Okay. So are they on their own totally now?
In what sense?
Do they still need support, the 6 regions?
When you say they need support from central government, yes, they are autonomous. Once you have your regional administrating minister, you have your deputy regional minister. But of course, this phase has to, end. They still have to be supported from the center. There's a lot of, I won't use, it's not supervision, but it's coordination between our ministry and the new regions versus central government. That is being done, at least for now. That is being done. We are still in the process of, we had hoped that we'll be able to finish the construction of the offices, but we believe that in the first quarter of next year, that will have been completed. And for example, to have a regional coordinating council by the constitution, there should be 2 reps from Regional House of Chiefs. They didn't have a full composition of Regional House. It was inaugurated only last month. So now they have 2 reps to the Regional House of Chiefs. Each region will now will have to elect 1 rep to the Council of State. So that also will have to happen. Deepening the process, government getting closer to them. They will have their own rep to the Council of State. Already they have 5 to the National House of Chiefs. There should be a rep on National Development Planning Commission by the Constitution. They are going to have that. In each region, there should be a rep of the Regional House of Chiefs on Police Committee, on Prisons Council. So all these things are going to fully blow up. But now that they have had their own Regional House of Chiefs, I'm sure in the next few weeks or months, all these things by constitutional injunctions, they will have to fill all that up. And so the chiefs, who are the representatives of the people, will be in some of these statutory institutions.
Okay.
And that's the deepening of the government, deepening of the legislative process will go on.
Okay, just finally, I have to say that this was a campaign promise that has been met. So what happens should you get the nod again in the next 4 years?
Well, that is it. You know, politics, as I told them this morning, is satisfying the aspirations of the people. We couldn't have had a country where there was that pent-up feelings, people were not happy, they have demanded for something all these years. I mean, if somebody can make a demand for 60 years and continuously make that demand, and so they can make a demand for 30, 40, and we have documents that show that there have been petitions upon petitions upon petitions. So finally, it has taken President Kufuor to meet the aspirations of people, to satisfy that deep-seated demand. And that's what politics is all about. You cannot want to be a leader when you have a section of your community who are not happy about something, and continuously and rightly so. But he has met it. He's delivered it within the first term of his government. He's done it. But it's also interesting to note, however, that this was not just a campaign promise that NPP made. Incidentally, when Mr. President, a candidate then, made this statement in Session also, and a fun expression in our manifesto, NEC then also started talking about Christian religions. And in their, is it page 71, 72 in their manifesto, they also said they will also kill 5 religions. So you see,
so this was a national need.
That confirms that it has been a national need. And why all these people, especially including the former President Mahama, who have been president, whose home country, home region, had always wanted it, they could never listen to them. It has taken President Kufuor to now come and
Is it a matter of they never listened to them, or
they
it was
never
a matter
did
of timing? Maybe this is a good
30
time.
years, 40 years. What timing again do you want? What timing again? The people have, because in all the petitions they came, I know they made it as a public commission. They had over 33 consultations, over 40 public hearings. And you needed to listen to the chiefs themselves. The case of Kratchi, they went to see the Queen of England in 1954 to send a petition to get Uti region. And subsequently, President, Prime Minister, they have copies of all those. It's very interesting. They have copies of all these ones. You know, and you come and you don't do it. You had all the opportunity, you don't do it. And it takes President Kufuor to come and do it and go through the constitutional process, and within the first term, finish. Mission accomplished, delivered. That's what governance is all about. Satisfy the aspirations of the people.
Will your ministry still be useful in the next term if you get the nod?
That was a tip. I expected this question. Well, that is for the, you see, there are certain burdens you don't add to yourself. I mean, for the burdens for the president. He has to decide. So I don't worry myself about those things at all. Because I didn't create it. I didn't appoint myself. Mr. President did it. And
yeah,
so if you lose at it,
doing the job, so
I agree.
You know how much work there is.
Yes, but
to still do.
I agree. Even if I think there's still more work, and Mr. President thinks that it's okay, what will you do? So the final decision is Mr. President, and I want to believe that, like he did many other things. And if you want to stray into other things, I can tell you, if you take Brexit, ordinarily, Brexit is a foreign office function. One would have thought that a desk officer in foreign affairs in Britain should have handled Brexit. But no, a whole minister, senior minister, Dan Davis, was appointed, I think I'm right, Dan Davis, to be a minister in charge of Brexit, just coming out of European Union. You see, so at times, we have to look at these things, how important it is. When you are meeting emotional aspirations of people, very sensitive, very touchy. Well, I must confess, many other governments, because we wear some no's, shy away from it or put a hold on it, because there was the fear that, this thing can degenerate into ethnic conflicts. You understand? Yes. So it was important to have a ministry dedicated to it. I would not want to appear to be we talking about ourselves, but if I tell the number of consultations we have to do, the travels that we have to do, the people we have to talk to in order to get this process through, it wasn't an easy thing. So when people started to say, oh, this didn't have to have a whole ministry, I think they had no idea of what the thing it took. I mean, we could have just added it, just like railway. Go into transport and see what is being done in railway. If you didn't have a whole ministry to it, negotiations to get this thing done. So at the end of the day, people want to get what they need delivered to them.
Okay.
And once it is done, the people get satisfied. I think that's what has been done. As whether it will continue, that one I leave it for the Mr. President. But there's the satisfaction that Ghanaians wanted something done. It has taken President Kufuor to put in place the machinery to get it delivered to them.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm tempted, because you're a senior politician, I'm tempted to ask about the U.S., but maybe I should just hold it.
What's happening in the U.S.?
Well, you know, some people say we're going to be showing them what the standard is in our December 7 polls.
Yes.
Because people didn't expect them to be dragging their process like it has gone on. Finally, we know Trump has kind of given in to the transition process to begin, even though he still insists that he's going to fight the case in courts. Should we be learning anything from that?
Well, for me, people make those statements, but for me, I think that once the person is not going outside the constitutional process, Trump is still fighting, it is right. I think they have even up to some time that within which you can, appeal, you can petition, you can go to court. There's time for it. Once he's not going outside the constitutional process and he's not trying to, as it were, subvert the constitution, he can go on and do that. But we don't use the electoral college system. I still don't see why they want to go. Maybe because the federal state is good for them. But thank God we have a very clear, simple system that works for us. And we are happy about it. And I want to believe that come December 7th, we are going to deliver the same thing. We'll have a very peaceful elections. I believe the processes so far have been very free, transparent, and we'll go through the process. And again, Ghana will come up with flying colors.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
So in a time where imagery as a communication tool and artistic medium is more powerful than ever, photography is a compelling way to express and communicate. We're going to be talking about Picture Me. It will equip participants with cameras, teach them the skills they will need to operate, navigate, document, tell stories with their images. Is that your dream right now? Well, let's get down to it. Let me introduce my guest in studio. Senyejom Adadivo is a photojournalist, a very famous one, of course. I'm sure you've seen her and her baby on some pitch somewhere. And then my colleague Shrado is here to tell us about this partnership that we also have. He's head of strategic partnership here at Multimedia. And joining us via Zoom on this conversation is Rita Ray. She's a producer of Picture Me. Let me say good morning to you, Rita Ray. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
You are. So
Thanks for having us on.
Okay, great. It's good to be interacting with a legend this morning. Let me say good morning to you guys here.
Hi, morning, Mama V. How are you?
I'm good. So let me start with Senyejom. Tell us about this project and why you're passionate about this.
Then you have to start with Rita, because it's Rita's baby, and Rita thought I was passionate enough and had enough energy to bring me. So let's go back.
Okay, so Senyo is directing me to you, Rita. So let's start with you. Tell us all about Picture Me.
Picture Me came about because my background is music. I'm a DJ and I'm a broadcaster. And I was part of a new festival called the Kingdom Project. And I met a woman called Amy Jade Cadillac who, when I got talking to her, because she was behind this Kingdom Project, we got talking and we started talking about gender inequality and how it's a global issue. It's not just in Africa or in the UK or in Asia, it's everywhere. And anyway, while the festival was going on, we were just chewing the fat and we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could get young women together, young women, say, from Ghana and the Welsh borders, and get them to explore their lives, their experiences, share them, but do it through a medium such as photography. Because right now, mainstream culture, image is it. Everything is told through image. And we wanted to go beyond the world of the selfie, where very often it's just not, it's quite shallow. It's just about the surface. We wanted to look at photography, which is not only a skill, but it's an art. So we thought if we could combine this, so while the young women were learning practical skills that were relevant for the 21st century, they were also sharing, contrasting and comparing their life experiences. And that's how we kind of came about. And then we had to find somebody who was going to deliver it. Neither of us are photographers. And as we searched and searched, we came across Senor John, who, honestly, I'm in awe of her, what she does. I mean, and she exemplifies what women have to go through to make their art, their work count and make it relevant. I mean, this woman is just like a powerhouse photographer. And not only is she a photographer, she's in the inner sanctum of men's photography, which is sports photography. So I prayed that we could get her, and lucky for us, she was really, really passionate about the project. So that's kind of how it came about. But we have so many people who are helping us as well. We went to AWDF, the African Women's Development Fund, and they love the idea, so they're giving us support. Canon, because we wanted to have the best cameras for the young women to work on. The pièce de résistance, of course, is that the multimedia group really love the project as well, and they've offered our young women internships. This is practical experience, which is absolutely invaluable. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what it's all about.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for telling us about it. I'll come back to you and ask why women. But let me get a reaction from Senor John. Senor John, first of all, how did you get the news that you're going to be on this project?
Well, Panji hit me up on Twitter and he was like, sis, there's a project I think you are the candidate for. I was like, really? Yeah, because, it was just a lockdown time going there about, and so I wasn't too, happy about anything, So, and then Panji goes like, listen, this is about educating, women, and I think that you have done enough, and I think you've seen it, and I think that just sharing what you do with them is even enough lesson. And I was humbled by it because Panji himself is a creative house on his own. And if he thought that of me, that was humbling enough. And so then I spoke to Rita. And when I spoke to Rita, then so Panji linked us up. And I spoke to Rita, and I thought this idea was a novel. Because I haven't done workshops. I get thousands of requests. We want you to train us. But the one thing I fear is for people to go home heartbroken. A person may never recover. How do I train people and don't equip them? What's that for? It doesn't make sense to me. So when Rita came up with the idea, and she was so passionate about getting cameras for the ladies who participated. We should get a place for them to practice at least a month. They're going to pay their transportation. I said, this is novel. This is divine. This is it. Why? Yeah, and I thought, listen, yes, I'll just go for it. I thought it was beautiful because I hate talk shows. Yes, yes. I'm a classic hustler. Classic hustlers, we're done with all that motivational speech.
Let's get
Let's get real.
That's the word. Let's get real. And I think this is real.
Nice.
I've never heard this done before. No matter how basic a camera is, the first camera I used that got my first gig with Focus on Africa, which by the way I never got credited with that photo though. But hey, that photo started me up because Durosimi Thomas, I don't know if you remember the name back then. Yes, and this guy, he's a perfectionist. He saw my photo and he was blown. It was with a basic camera, and so he gave me the gig. And then from the passion he expressed, from the satisfaction, that built me up. And so for me, there's nothing like a basic camera. It is how you train. No matter what sort of camera you're holding, you can also get an image from an event that somebody else is holding that can tell a story.
Great. I'll come back for you to answer the question of what makes a good photo. And whilst we're having this conversation, this is one of Senior John's photographs, by the way.
Oh, yeah. But this is no, this was in Beijing. Yes, women's double, 2008.
2008
yes.
Olympics in Beijing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been around, you know.
Sure, I can understand why we jumped on this.
Yes.
But just explain.
Well, I think for me, when Senior John and I have a really great relationship, we have love for two things: photography and sports. Yeah. During the lockdown, I mean, we talked a lot about content creation and things. We know, we were all reduced to just making phone calls and making WhatsApp calls. So I think after she had spoken to Rita Ray, she's like, you know what? So there's this idea that I'm being asked to do. I was like, this is what you'll be doing? Well, I think that even without speaking to my seniors at Multimedia, this is something I think we would be happy to support, because for me there are two things that we're also contributing to equipping young women, more importantly young women, bridging the gender inequality gap, and more so also giving people an opportunity to actually get in the throes of what we do and tell real life stories. And I thought that as an opportunity like that for people is not to make us be great or feel great about ourselves, but more importantly, to contribute to society. So it was an easy thing for me to see value, and it was even easier when I approached the main man and said, this is something I'm negotiating some work on, and I'm having a conversation with the folk. He says, dude, that's a good idea. If we can do it, let's go ahead and do it. So it was very, very, very quickly adopted by the Multimedia Group.
Great, I'm glad. So Rita, I want to ask the question, why women? Why are we focusing on women?
Because as far as women have got over the years, and we have so many women in prominent positions, there is still a huge gender gap, gender inequality that we need as a human race to address, because unless we all move together in partnership, we won't be utilizing and making the most of what we all have. It's so important. Look at it. You've all got masks on because we are in the midst of this dreadful pandemic. If you look around and look at the countries that are actually coping with it best, those countries are run by women. And those women have a team around them comprising men and women working in partnership. So it's not so that women get, have excess power, or it's just so that women have an equal say. And when people get together and speak and negotiate together in partnership, that's when we move forward. And for me, that's why it's so important.
So what are we looking for exactly?
We're looking for young women with a passion for learning about themselves, learning about their communities, learning about what is happening in the world, and are interested in using photography and photographic skills to actually realize that ambition, to use the camera, because it is an art form, and the camera is so central to life now. Everybody's got a mobile phone. Everybody can take a picture, and it's this selfie generation that we want to go beyond and to build and bring people into an arena where they get real skills and they are able to actually express themselves and communicate to other people.
Okay, great. Senator, I want you to answer the question of what makes a good photograph. Maybe you can answer that first.
What makes a good photograph is when first of all, photography is writing with light, right? So what makes a good story? It's when you read and you understand. It's an information. When the information is delivered to the recipient as intended by the person sending it. So if I told you a game was powerful, I shouldn't give you the images and still be telling Charlie, but this game was wild. No, you should see it from the photos I gave you. If I tell you a party was lit, you should say from the photos. I just have to keep quiet, deliver the photos to you, and you go, actually, the party, hey, you guys enjoy though. That is the story. So unless, of course, the personal things like name, yeah, of course, you don't have that in a photo or an image. But a photo should convey an energy. A good photo, that's the word. A good photo should convey the energy at the time of capturing. That is it.
Great. So, Ishra, I've got plenty questions that I want to ask Senior John.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here watching and saying, okay, let me just watch the stars do their thing.
Yes,
but if you had asked me what makes a great photo, my answer would have been a photo that's shot by her with you in it.
Well, thank you.
We are humble.
So listen, Senior John, you've come a very long way. You're a trained journalist.
Yes.
Are we asking those who feel they're passionate and they want to participate to come from that same background?
I'll tell you two things. You asked Rita, I think this skipped here. What apart from the age criteria, we want a person who can just read and write. And so, but you have the interest for photography. We're just polishing your storytelling ability. Now, there's one thing, Rita and I had meeting with Canon, and then Canon went like, but we know Madam Sinjom as a sports photographer. And I said to the representative, that's how good I've become over the years. I'm a trained communicationist. I did advertising, I did management, I read journalism, I read demography. As you evolve, then you specialize. And that is what we're giving this woman. We are opening you to. We're going to talk about press law. We're going to talk about how to market yourself, how to present yourself, the psychic, you should go there. We're just prepping you up. Is what, 10 days, it's 5 days continuous and 10 days. But these 5 days are supposed to make you even decide, okay, so this is not all about traveling. This is all not about glamour. Do I really want to do this? After that 5 days, before you even go on the internship, you would know if you even really want to do this or not. But then we'll thank you, but still giving you the camera because you spent 5 days with us.
Nice. Yeah. Do you need any special strategies as a woman to survive in this industry?
The only special strategy every human being needs is your brain and focus. That's all. And I don't do gender. But of course, the gender thing is real. Like I always cite that example. It's not a Ghana thing, it's not an African thing that there's that male superiority. It's all over. Photography and sports photography has taught me that men would always be men. But at the end of the day, I mean, sports gears are very heavy. And so then you get to realize, okay, it is quote and unquote man's world. You know, there are times that I've been very tired. So that's how come mostly my team is made up of men. Because I know that in my type of photography, you should have the passion in order to reduce yourself to go through that stress of carrying those things. So unless a woman has that stage and energy to want to do sports, I'm not going to impose anything on anybody. We're just opening you up, opening your mind, telling you stories around, telling you the possibilities and how you can jump over the impossibilities.
Okay, great. So Rita, let me ask, what's the base? So somebody's watching us right now and they want to get this training really bad. What must they do?
Well, they can get in touch with us. It is the 11th hour because we start next week. They would have to get in touch with us. And I believe our wonderful Shiraz got all the details there, but they would have to do it today. And we've got a wonderful team, including our Tina Akaful from the Foundation of Female Photojournalists, who's going to be facilitating the whole process. She's on standby as well. So if you really, really want to do it and you've got the passion, it's going to be intense. It's going to be hard. But I think the benefits will be great.
Okay.
So get onto it now.
Okay. What's the limitation on the age, though?
The limitation of the age is because we're working with a college in the UK, girls from the Welsh borders. So we want to keep the ages kind of similar so that they have more in common in terms of life experience. So that's why it's 18 to 23.
Okay. All right, Inshira?
Yep.
So tell us how.
Well, so unfortunately, we're starting next week. The call had gone out already. So if you're now hearing about it and want to participate, you can send us a short essay, not more than 500 words.
A written essay.
A written essay
or
about you.
A photography essay.
No, just a written essay. A story about you and why you want to be considered for the to participate. And you send that email to pictureme806@gmail.com. Or if you're close enough to the multimedia group, you can always drop the written essay here at the reception, but you must do it today.
Okay. And how many are you selecting in the end after today?
The training will be open to a maximum of 20 people.
Okay.
10 of whom, the 10 best outstanding participants will then, exactly, passionate and outstanding ones, will be the ones who benefit from the 2-month internship with the multimedia group.
Okay. So what form is the training going to take, Sayijo?
So we have 2 sets of people. So because we are trying to observe, or not try, we are observing the COVID protocols. Yes, so we are going to do it in a batch of 6. 6. And even with this 6, it's going to be a maximum of 45 minutes per session, 3 times for all 3. So we're going to have 3 groups. And then, so we have 6 in Ghana, and then we have 6 joining us from Welsh. They will join us via Zoom. And so, yeah, so it's going to be interactive. And you can also follow my channel, Image TV channel, or also follow me on my page to get through to my channel. We want to also not just reach the 20 that, or the 18 that we are teaching directly, but we also think this is a refresher course for all of us. People are complaining about standard of news dropping and all that, but actually standard of news and all that depends on one particular group of people, our editors. So we've also brought it in a very refreshing manner for even editors. As old as you are in journalism, you also get refreshed. Oh yes, Charlie, I forgot this rule. So we'll go live on the social media handles so that people can also join in and pick a thing or 2.
Great. So in the end, Rita Ray, what are you giving to the young ladies? I've heard the camera.
What am I giving to them?
In terms of the team, what is at stake?
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question. All I want them to get from it is a great experience that might be a gateway to understanding themselves and the world they live in, and hopefully having a pathway into a career that's very, very relevant to the 21st century, which is photography.
Okay. Are they walking away with some packages though?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are. Everyone goes away with a Canon camera.
Great.
Wow.
All right.
And then the internship with Joy.
Yeah.
And then we are actually, I think Rita said she didn't really get a question. So that's one of the things. They are giving some small token to at least, get a transportation to come do their internship. Where do you get that?
Yeah. What's the advantage of this to a person out there? Because you're in the game.
Well, you see, there are these 2 things, photo and journalism. Are subjects that opens you up to the world. A journalist can hold a conversation with anybody from any profession, because before you go out there as a journalist, you have to read on a subject. So it broadens your mind every day. Before you take a photograph and understand your composition, you should have studied on what the shot is going to be about. So these 2 combine, photojournalism. A photojournalist is a very enlightened person, very well-read person. So you would have gone away knowing that it's not about click, it's about reading. You always have to read in order to be abreast with the person. If you're taking a professional doctor, a photo, and it's a photo story in the theater, and the man forgets his watch or his ring, you have read the protocols about going to your theater. You would have to prompt the medical personnel that, please, can you cover your ring? Can you remove your earrings? The story would not be well shot. So you will go away very enlightened and knowing that behind the luxury, and it opens you up. I have gone to at least, 30 countries around the world because of journalism. I'm not yet that rich, yes, but because I do not do, quote and unquote, commercial, I do more of the intellectual thing, like, documenting this stuff.
More like development journalism.
Development journalism is the word. So it opens you up. I've met great people. I wouldn't be sitting here I met you through journalism, I met him through journalism. So it opens you, and you're coming to Joy FM, you see. So it opens you up to the world. Yeah.
Okay, so Ishra, are we keeping our viewers and our listeners updated on this?
We will
journey?
certainly. We'll cover the training period, of course, so that by the time you start seeing the output of these 10 passionate, gifted photojournalists, you would have seen the journey to the point where they started producing.
And not to cut you, what a better time to do this? The elections is coming.
Oh, yeah.
You need to inform people.
Yes.
So they are going to get a part of it. Cover the elections, the swearing, the emotions afterwards and all that. It's a beautiful time.
Perfect timing.
But can you imagine if you look back one day as a photojournalist, you look back and said, you know what, my very first assignment as an intern was during the election.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
awesome
huge.
Stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for telling us about this project. We'll be following closely. I work here, so I'll get to see them.
Yes. Yes.
When they come around to intern, right? Rita Ray, thank you so much for also sharing.
For having me on and for having a little focus on photo on Picture Me, because we all really believe in it, and I'm just so grateful to all the people who are helping us to make it possible.
Great. So Rita Ray is producer, Picture Me. Inshirado, thank you very much. And Senor Jom, I'll be seeing a lot more of you as well.
Yes. Good.
Facilitating this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mama
Well. Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We still have show business news to share with you here on the AM show. And of course, yesterday, the Obechebi Lamte interchange, first phase of it was open. How is it looking like the morning after? We've got that to share with you as well.
This Wednesday, and it is the first time that you would see some of these scenes. I'm talking about this project that was commissioned only yesterday by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor, and you can see cars plying via this interchange, which was open for the first time yesterday. A lot of noise in the background telling you about the hubbub of activity here. Now, where we find ourselves, the Obechebi Lamte interchange is a fulcrum within the business district of Accra, or at least a lot of people would be using this end of the stretch connecting to the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, and there are those as well who would be using the Kaneshi area, plying this route through to the main section of Accra. I'm talking about plying the Graphic Road. This portion of the stretch is so important that, I mean, those trying to connect to Gamami through Agbogboloshi and all of that can actually use the stretch. Now, it was actually started in October 2016 with the paperwork that was done, and we're now seeing the fruit of all of that being born. $35 million project. Part of it has been completed. Phase 1 is what you see behind me. Now, even for phase 1, there's going to be subsequent work being done. In fact, phase 2 is going to commence, and we're going to have these lanes expanded into a 3-tier lane to expand, to allow for more road access. Now, this stretch was actually created for 2 main reasons. One, to actually ease congestion on this stretch, and the second, to ensure with the culverts and the other drainage systems that will be provided, to slow down, prevent flooding in this area when the rains hit. So $35 million project, 17 million the first phase of the project, and is being handled by Brazilian company Queiroz Galvão. Now, as far as this stretch is concerned, as the Roads and Highways Minister, Kwesi Amoakwata, mentioned last week, they are 5 months ahead of time. So the Brazilian outfit, the contractor, has been able to complete this first phase 5 months ahead of time. And the call has been from the president to actually continue same in the second and subsequent phases of the project. So we're here now with some commuters, people who use the stretch on a daily basis. Of course, not the interchange, which was commissioned only yesterday. We have here, hello?
Hello.
What are you from?
You're from Emmanuel.
Ima, yeah, what are you kwe juma na what are you using route way?
Pochondo, metafa kwe juma pa.
And to say o me be interchange way, I just say afi e be kwan no. What you saying?
Sisi ano, abama traffic no ano abrase because I have no traffic in the chepa. Wo a wo be juma na. Wo pentan wo be do ano na traffic wo ha wontumi nya hwe. But sisi ano aye no overhead no. Abama ebinum ba fast road, ebinum ba form the traffic no ano be kofo.
Enti yes na che say munumu bi no wo say we use a bicycle. Also saying a bit me ebu
betumi aboa mo kwan bebree because kwan ni dem a me so metumi afam akọ adwuma anytime am ya me mpe bia traffic ni ntumi nsimi kwan metumi afifie anytime ya say men dwen say bia traffic wo kwan so ana say traffic ni kwan so
ena omo plans nso say stretch way no ombe biemu aka ho na che say ensuo nso to a say na ya eja flooding ne na sefo etesi a ha manfo no ometimi esisi niema gata e won chen na che say ensuo netimi afa ho eno nso wodwen ho say
ano so ebeboa because MTN office anum say nsuo to kakra bia na agbo enwura office wo no abana za obi fiso ba say all kwan nsuo to sisi a wogina ha ontumi mfam ahabaya masisi a nti gata no omoso mba ya mombie na me yan kase say na ebeboa edwuma zo bebre wa ha say workers in bebre ha na nyina ya fa kwedwuma nti say nsuo no to na yiri a ha adwupa wa
yeah that's say when na twetwe nkoma no pay. And that is one of the commuters here. He is talking about the fact that, well, he uses a bicycle and he uses this stretch on a daily basis. Now, with the opening of the interchange from both ends, he is saying it will help ease traffic congestion. And I also, told him about the plan to extend the stretches to make it a 3-tier lane and also provide gutters and culverts and others to ensure that when there's rain, it actually eases up. And he says that will be very helpful because there is a lot of flooding here when the rains hit. Here we are with another commuter. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name, please?
My name is Stephen Asari.
Right, so Stephen, the interchange, Obecha Bilamte interchange, has been commissioned. It's been open to vehicular activity. What do you think of it?
I think it's a good move by the government. That is what we are expecting from we, the citizens, and as well as the government, because we expect that the tax that we have been paying should be in good use. And I think we can all see the traffic have been eased and cars have been moving, and I think it's a good thing by the government, and we expect more from him. That is what I can say.
Now, what are you looking forward to this project actually, contributing to this community? I'm sure you use this stretch pretty often.
Yeah, actually, this is my workplace. This is where I work, so I've been patrolling this road each and every time, and I think it's a good move. All that I can say that the second phase, as they said, should be in haste to be completed so that we can see more of the project. But what I realized yesterday was that much of the traffic now lies at Pamprum. Yesterday, around 4 or 5 there, you can see that the traffic piles at Pamprum over there, and I think they should take a look at that one also. But it's a good move by the government, and I think the pedestrians also, they should consider the bus stop and the zebra crosses should be also well noticed so that there will be no accidents on the road. Yeah.
As the stretch is opened up, there are plans to open up further, plans for a flyover and all of that, and maybe drainages. Do you feel this is going to help, curb the flooding situation? How bad is that flooding situation in this neighborhood, and what are you looking forward to?
I think the flood situation at Abosokan here is very, very bad. It is very, very bad, and we expect much more drainage as this new road has been commissioned. because you can experience the recent rains that we occurred at this area. Very bad. We expect bigger drains. I think the drain which we have here is also is good, but we expect much more drains so that all these rains that have been coming from Abosokai and circle over there can be curtailed. I think the government can do more, and we expect much more from him.
Right. Now, this project, we are as well with Ernest Dankwa. He's a taxi driver. Ernest, morning.
Good morning.
Now, how do you think, sir, Ebe Bua Wejuma as a taxi driver?
Oh, Ebe Bua is the traffic. I never run about it, but now I was in Gomanetra Pamprumu because Pamprumu traffic light in the sound when do through overhead now. So now, traffic best have a better traffic about a house in the beam. But yeah, now I are there.
It's, you know, at least Ebe Bua Kakra. Now, there are two projects, you know, Ebema traffic situation, Kakra, so attic.
So better. May show you so better.
Now, yeah, and you are to talk now, have flooding and as a for no, so no. I have plans on one, a bit to me, Bua, Emma, and also you Chatuana.
It's only the minimum idea my year bit my man's winner as a better.
Gata, Calvert, and then I say for, and I just say to me, Bua, Emma, and so yes, sir.
Okay, so my idea bit me up. Minimum my dream with the better, my idea bit me up. So be a Ocaso Bay.
That's it.
Okay.
And that is one more road user, a taxi driver, who is explaining that, well, for him, this is quite some progress that has been made, but he was also alluding to the fact that when you get to Pramprum, the traffic light, it still creates some congestion. And as the project continues, he would want to see better. Right here, from the Obechabi Lamte interchange. It's been open, commuters are applying it, and we can only pray that as the project continues...
But Han, what's the Broomwood...
in terms of easing the congestion in this portion of Accra.
What is it?
That was Stonebwoy, but let's talk about rapper Amarado, and he's talking about working with Shatta Wale, and also talking about Yetinsem, the Kumasi edition. He shares more.
Shatta's manager called me that he's organizing a Boys for Comerica Invasion project, and since I'm a Kumasi guy, they would want me to be on it, so I didn't think twice. I just hopped on, and then we just went to Kumasi to shoot the video. So it was a very great feeling for me, because you know, this year I've been working extra hard, and these are the kind of platforms that I need to avail myself to the people. So it was a very great one, and I thank him for that. Yeah.
What happened to the second season of Yetinsem? It started already.
And it's already. We are at episode 25 now, so Friday the 26th is gonna come. People are still loving it, and I'm just happy, you know.
Are you taking it to Kumerica?
Yeah, I took it to Kumerica when I was having my promotion of my song featuring Ochame Kwame Treme. So when I went there, I did something creative out of my tour. That no, Yetinsem is not happening, but I'm trying to like make you people know that I put in a lot to get this done. So we did one in Kumerica, and I think that was the one people really loved, because it was out of the normal zone, you know.
Why was that different?
Yeah, because I took it outside to Kejetia, and I went out to interview people as you are doing to me now. So it was crazy. We would want to finish the episodes maybe with 30. With this year, you know, when the year is over, we will just pause and hopefully draw a new plan next year to maybe release it every month or every 2 months. So this year we want to wrap up and then close the year with the Yetinsem, and then we come out with a different strategy as in how to give it out. Yeah.
Elections are coming up. Should we expect a Yetinsem series on the election?
Definitely. I'm gonna do it. Yeah.